cuties. Oh, there he is. Earl, where are you? Where's Pearl? Here, Stitch. Here. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Crafting and Crime Daily. I am Crafting Journey, aka Rebecca. On Instagram, I'm known as that_journey_chick. That journey chick. Check that out. I am actually watching it snow. Yep, it is snowing. It's so beautiful when it comes down. Yeah. Okay. Will it last? I don't know. So this is the show where I recap what has happened daily in live trials that are occurring on YouTube. First, we're going to talk about the Murdoch case. Yes, they're still picking a jury. Yes, they have picked a jury, or they're picking a jury. I listened in last night. Last night, I'm in the kitchen, I'm making dinner, and I hear this voice coming from the craft room. I'm like, what is that? My sister said, I think you left one of your trials running on the iPad. So I come out here, and what I had done is I had clicked into the Murdoch case, and there's no video on that. It's just audio, so I must have got up during a break, and I don't know what happened. But anyway, that was going on. I said, but it's 6 o'clock at night. It's 7 o'clock, or no, it's 5:15 or so. So 6 o'clock in South Carolina. I said, they can't still be picking a jury at 6 o'clock at night. They were. They were still picking jury members. But I did hear the judge tell some that had been chosen, I'm going to send you home. I want you to call this number after such and such a time tomorrow, because I'm going to either bring you back Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday for the opening statements. Like, oh. So they're still picking a jury. Yeah. They are. So then the other thing I wanted to update you on is Derek Chauvin. Do you remember good old Derek Chauvin? Yeah. That was the trial of George Floyd. He was convicted of second-degree manslaughter on May 25th, 2020. George Floyd died at the hands of 4 police officers, all 4 of which were tried. Derek Chauvin had his knee on George Floyd's neck and back for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. So he was convicted of second-degree manslaughter in state court. He's also been convicted of violation of civil rights in federal court. Well, he's probably guilty. So he appealed that decision, and there was a couple of reasons why he appealed. One of them was one of the jurors, juror number 52. He lied on his questionnaire. Or that's what they're saying. They're alleging that he lied on his questionnaire. One of the jury questions on the questionnaire was, have you ever participated in a march or a protest? Or didn't use the word march. They used the word protest. Have you ever participated in a protest? Well, this particular juror, African American, I'm assuming, had participated in a march in Washington that was triggered by this whole case, and he did not disclose that, because to him it was not a protest, it was a march. Semantics, right? Mm-hmm. Semantics. Well, the jurors, the appellate jurors, justices, whatever you want to call them, they were troubled. They said, you could have ferreted that out when you had him there. You could have asked him those questions. And he says, well, that juror questionnaire would have been hundreds of pages of long if we ferret out every single synonym for the word protest, So how would we know to, if he said no, how would we know to ask more questions on that? Well, and then he said, as it stands, they questioned the transcript of just the questioning of that particular juror was 35 pages long. He was thoroughly vetted, this guy. They knew he was, that he believed in Black Lives Matter. He supported that, that movement. They just didn't ask him the right questions. So I don't think they're going to win on that argument. They wanted for that, they wanted the justices to remand the case back to the state court and ask the state court judge or the district court judge to have a Schwartz hearing. And what that is to determine if the jury was tainted by this guy. But this guy said, if you decide in my favor on the other thing we're going to argue, then we don't need the Schwartz hearing. So the other thing that they were arguing, they wanted a new trial based on the fact that Derek Chauvin did not get a fair trial because of all the pre-trial publicity this case got in the location where they had it. He said basically this courthouse was on lockdown. It was surrounded by, concrete blocks and 2 armored vehicles and SWAT people everywhere, and the jurors did express concern for their safety, and they felt like the jurors believed that if there was a not guilty verdict, that there could be civil unrest in the community, and they didn't want that, and it tainted the jury, and they should get a new trial. Well, the defense, when they got up to argue, they said, listen, jurors, no matter where you're going to put this case, jurors were going to be concerned for their safety. And what this judge did was he held this trial in the safest location he could. If he had put this in any other courthouse, they would not have been as safe as they were where it was held. So all these concrete barriers and armored patrol, that was all for the safety of the jurors, not there just in case of civil unrest. It was to assure the safety of the jurors. So I don't know which way this is going to go. I don't know. But it was interesting to listen to this argument in favor of getting Derek Chauvin a new trial. I don't think it's going to fly. I don't think he's going to get a new trial. So anyway, back to the trial of Mark Jensen, the retrial of Mark Jensen. So they started out by doing a cross-examination of Aaron Dillard, the jailhouse snitch. And I didn't really glean much more than what he stuck to his story, and they tried to get into the details of what Aaron Dillard had been charged with, and the judge says, no, we're not going to go there. He's admitted that he had been convicted of 10 prior felonies. We're not going to go into every single one of them and what it was and who did what. We're not doing that. Then they had they put on another employee who answered phone calls, and she said that she never received any harassing phone calls while she was working at the prior law firm, the prior stockbroker firm that Mark Jensen's worked for. Then they had a preschool teacher, or she had been a preschool teacher. She taught their youngest child, Douglas, 3 times a week. And she remembers Julie coming in at one point saying her marriage was over. She was going to have to get a divorce. She was going to have to start working full-time, and that Douglas would have to go to school full-time. And I guess that's why she was lamenting all this with the school teacher, because now her son would have to come to full-time. And she also remembered that Mark came in after she learned about Julie's passing. And he had said to her that, there were that Julie had multiple doctors and she was on multiple medications, and it was the mixture of those medications that caused her death. And that after Julie died, Douglas did go full-time at that daycare, preschool, whatever it was. Then they put Julie's brother on the stand, and the reason they had Julie's brother on the stand was to establish Mark had maintained or told some people that Julie had this family history of suicide, psychiatric problems. Well, this brother came on, he said, he talked about the way they grew up. We were a very musical family. We were very close. They had one brother that passed away. He didn't even remember him, but not from suicide. He said, no, there's no history of suicide in this family, and no psychiatric history in this family. We're fine. So he did remember, he talked about how kind Julie was, that their father had passed away in 1997. At one point, his own wife had a miscarriage, and Julie had actually offered to be a surrogate for her if she needed it. She didn't need it. She went on to have more children, but then when Julie's brother, went to visit Mark in January of 1999, 1 month after Julie's death in December, Kelly Labonte, the girlfriend, fiance, wife later on, was there. And that she appeared to be well established in the home. Like, she was very familiar with where everything was, very, including the master bedroom. Like, she lived there. And Mark introduced her as his friend. And she seemed to have, control over the kids. They were listening to her, and she was disciplining them. And so she lived there. So that was Julie's brother. Then we get some interesting testimony from a guy named David Thompson. Excuse me. Now, David Thompson is this large black man. He comes in, and right away we find out he met Mark Jensen when he was an inmate. He was a federal prisoner for bank robbery. He was a bank robber. And he was in federal prison. The federal government had a contract with the Waukesha jail to house some of the federal inmates there, I guess, that were waiting for their sentence or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, he meets Mark, and first they had kind of a disagreement. I don't even remember what it was over. They didn't see eye to eye on something. Eventually, Mark came around and saw his point of view. Anyway, they got to talking, and they would sit and talk over coffee and blah, blah, blah. And Mark would always express how upset he was about this witness in his case, Ed Klug. Still talking about Ed Klug. And he was pretty adamant that he hadn't done this, but that, he was going to be this guy, this one witness, Ed Klug, was going to be his downfall. And so this guy says, well, he's an opportunist, this guy. He's like, I can make a buck here. And he admits later on money was his primary motivator. He's like, maybe I can help you with that. And Mark's like, well, what do you mean? He goes, for the right price, I might be able to help you with that witness of yours. And so Mark says, well, how much? And he goes, well, $1,000 we can sit on him for a while. Make him, in other words, kidnap him. That's just basically sit on him until the trial's over, a 6-week trial. And that's what the prosecutor said to this Thompson guy. You were gonna sit on him for 6 weeks? And he's like, I wasn't really gonna do it. He's like, I just wanted to get the money, because he was gonna pay me $575 up front and $425 when the deal was done, when the trial was over and this guy hadn't testified. So Mark agreed to this, apparently. Then at some point, so then the phone call started. Mark started calling his Kelly and telling her, I need to get $500 from my parents twice, $500 twice. And he wouldn't tell her what it was for, and I don't want to involve you. And then we find out that Mr. Thompson has had conversations with his girlfriend about, you know, hey, when this guy calls you, just say, you know, everything's taken care of or something, you know, we're not really going to do it. Just say everything's taken care of. Well, then he gets a letter from his lawyer. Mr. Thompson gets a letter from his lawyer saying, you know, these phone calls are monitored. Stop talking. Stop talking. And he's like, oh, yeah. Well, then he sees the opportunity. Well, maybe, you know, if this guy's willing to hire me, maybe I can get a deal from the prosecutor. So he meets with his attorney meets with the prosecutor, and they agree. The prosecutor, because it's a federal thing, I can't do anything on a federal court. He says, but I agreed I would write him a letter to the federal judge that he, in exchange for him testifying about this agreement that he had with Mark to sit on this witness, Ed Klug, during the trial. Yeah. So, you know, this testimony went on for a while. The defense attorney was very good at discrediting this guy because he's clearly not, he can't tell a straight story to save his life. But just ruined his credibility. You know, were you the one in possession of a weapon during the bank? No, it wasn't my gun. It was my girlfriend's gun. I had the marijuana. She had the gun. I'm like, oh my God. I just jumped over the counter and got the money, and oh boy. So then after he was done testifying, they put on phone call we got to hear the jail phone calls between Mark and Kelly, where he tells her he wants to give $500 twice to his parents, and he won't tell her what it's for. Then phone calls between Mark and his parents saying, here's a phone number for this, the girlfriend of Mr. Thompson's, her name was Kim. I want you to call Kim and just tell her to put more money on the phone. You know, and that's all he would really tell his parents on the phone. And at one point, the father starts getting into something, and the mom's like, those phone calls are monitored, honey. Stop talking, you know. But it was clear from these phone calls that Mark was trying to get the $500 to this Kim to get this thing done, taken care of. Interesting. So that's where that testimony ended for the day. It was really, really interesting. And the guy, he's been out of jail since 2014. He says, I'm clean now. I don't, you know, I've run a cleaning business since I got out of jail in 2014. I've had my own business in three different locations. He cleans apartments, houses, you know, things like that for $40, $50 an hour. And he's going to school full time, hospitality. He's studying hospitality, which is like hotel and motel management type thing. Interesting. So he's been gainfully employed since 2014 and apparently living the straight and narrow. Interesting. All right, what else have I got to tell you? I think that's it. That's it? What? Yeah. They have, I think there was one more witness that was put on last night, and I did not get to that witness. So I will pick that witness up this morning, listen to it, and get you that testimony. And then I'll just keep checking in on the Alex Murdaugh case just to make sure that I get the right timing on the opening statement so I can do that live for you. Because that's going to be really interesting. Really, really interesting. So I've been working on let me show you, I've been working on the dragon part of the dragon door. I got all the special drills that I needed to go ahead and work on the dragon. So let me just show you what I've been doing yesterday and today. I'm going to turn the light pad off and turn this around. shake off all the loose drills. So here's what I've been working on. Just the dragon. Isn't that gorgeous? He's sparkling. Now let me unroll it a little bit. So I don't think, yeah, he doesn't go up too much further. I still got to figure out what I'm going to do with the eyes and the flames coming out of his back here. So, but that's where I'm at. I just wanted to finish the dragon, then I'll go back to doing everything around the dragon, because I'm curious how this dragon's going to come out. I have replaced every normal drill with an Aurora Borealis drill, which is it's a drill that has a special iridescent coating on it, so it just really, really has this gorgeous sparkle to it. So that's what I've been working on. Let's roll it back down here. Hi, I'm back. Okay. There we go. Let's put the light pad back on. All right. Now I just will continue that. You'll get to see more tomorrow. So, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. I don't know if it is still snowing. Yes. I'm such a child when it comes to snow. Oh, I did walk the dogs this morning, and it was clear, cloudy, but the snow just started probably about 30 minutes ago, 40 minutes ago. It's so beautiful. Luckily, I don't have to go nowhere today. Thank goodness. I'm just going to sit, craft, listen to trials, do some laundry. We had all that rain come through last week, and it just turns my backyard into a mud pit. So the dogs transfer that mud onto my bed, the dogs and cats. So my bedspread had mud on it, and so that's in the washing machine right now. Oh, guys. All right. I will see you tomorrow on Crafting and Crime Daily. Please don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button. He sure does appreciate the love that you show him very, very much. Just go, boop, hit that like button. He looks like this. Just hit it. And share this with someone you think might enjoy listening to these retrial recaps while they do some crafting, cross-stitching, diamond painting, crochet, whatever it is. Send it to them. Say, hey, check this chick out. This journey chick. Yeah. All right, guys. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you later. Bye.